Hey guys, it's Grace Pamela with Summerana.com, and I'm going to show you how to use video overlays, which are animation effects that you put over your still images. And it's a lot of fun to play with, so I'm going to show you how to do that. What we did is I created a action set that comes with it. You can do it by hand, um, which I will show you, but I also wanted to show you how to do it using the action since it makes it super easy to do. So I went ahead and I uploaded the actions by selecting load actions, and then I found it on my computer and uploaded it. Um, so then I have those here. So what you're going to want to do is go to apply video overlay, and this is for, if you open it a little more you'll be able to see it. This is for the screen mode version, and then this is for the normal. What that means is if you see a video overlay with a black background, it most likely will need to be converted to screen blending mode, and this just does it for you. And that will make the black disappear. And I will show you that with a firework video overlay that we have. Okay, so I'm going to select the screen mode one since the firework video overlays do have the black background, and I'm going to go ahead and select play. Press continue, and then I'm going to select a firework. Now you can add multiple fireworks. You can do as many as you want. Same for all video overlays, and then select place. Now it's not just going to pop up um, like this. For me, it is only popping up because I already loaded one in. So you'll have to make sure you go into your computer and find the location of where you unzipped your video overlays. Okay, so I'm going to select one and select place. And then you can go ahead and resize it however you see fit, but you can't really see it, so you can come back in and just resize it later as well. And then select the check mark, and then select continue. Now what that did is it already selected it, it put it into screen mode for you, so you don't have to do it. And then it also added a layer mask for you. Um, so that way it's all set. And then it selected your brush, your black brush, so you can go ahead and erase it off of your subjects or anything that you'd like to. If you want to do it by hand, you would just go to File and then select Place Embedded, and then you can do the same thing and select your video overlay, and that's how you get it on your image. Okay, so when this action also sets up your video timeline here for you. Now, if you want to do that by hand, you would just go to Window and then select Timeline right here. And then that will make it pop up for you like this. Okay, so once you have that, you can select Create Video Timeline. And then here you will see you have your fireworks. Now I'm going to go ahead and press play here. You can see it's right over their head. Um, and that's the beauty of what I like to do is I like to bring this over um, like a still shot right here so you can kind of see what you're working with, and then you can just move it around as you'd like to. And then we also have the actions down here for resizing and rotating. You can go ahead and press play. Now when using any of these actions, you want to make sure you don't have like the background selected or a different video overlay. So let's say you have like 5 fireworks. You want to make sure you select each one that you want to work with, and not the layer mask but the actual file. Okay, so you can go ahead and press play, and then this just kind of expedites it for you if you want to resize or rotate or flip, um, whatever you want to do. These options make it super simple, so you can just do it in like 2 seconds. Um, and then you can also change the perspective as well by selecting continue. And then you can move the edges around like this to change the perspective if you'd like. Okay, so now we have our video animation overlay here. Now I'm going to show you, I'm going to kind of go down the list here on the different things that you can do to edit these overlays, and also how to manage your video timeline down here. What this is you can add different layers, much like over here in the layer panel, in your video timeline, and you can edit it however you see fit. So you can see this blue one will go over it playing, Now it's a little long down here, so if you don't want that extra time, what you can do is move this right here, and then you can shorten it if you want, or make it longer, whatever you would like to do. If you pull down this, you can have even more opportunity to go in and edit. It's a lot of fun to play with. Okay, so what you're going to want to do, um, what you can do is you can add more than one if you'd like, and you can also change the timing of that. So let's go ahead and add another one and I will show you. Okay, so I'm gonna go over here so I can kind of see what I'm working with, and then you can kind of move it around like that, and you can make them bigger or smaller, whatever you think might be best. Okay, so now you can see we have two layers here, one for each firework. Now what you can do is you can have them both kind of going off at the same time. So for example, and you can see this red is where it starts. So if you want it to start like right away, you can pull it over here and then you'll see it plays it like right away, kind of midway. Or if you want it to start, at the like where it gives it a little bit of time and space, you can just move them around for however you want. So you can have them going off at the same time, or if you want to have them go off like kind of one at a time, you can make your video longer. So you can see it's 7 minutes, um, or not 7 minutes, but you can see it's longer. So what you want to do is just get an idea for how long you want your video to be for each different type of platform or wherever you're going to upload them. And then you can do one at a time or both or however you think would look really cool. Now you can see it's like extra long here, um, towards the end. So that's totally up to you and what you want to do. Now, one way you can shorten it is you can kind of see here, where it ends, and then you have all this extra space here. So if you want it to be not going on and on forever, you can make it shorter kind of right after where it ends. So now I'll show you. And you can make your timeline smaller and larger, so you can kind of either get in more to see what you're really doing or kind of get a bigger picture of it, so you're not just going back and forth a lot. And that's by using this bar down here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and press play. Okay, so now you can see we have a nice short simple um, video with two fireworks, and again you can add even more and layer them up all you want to. Um, so the next thing I want to show you is how to edit these video overlays. Okay, so here you'll see we have our video overlay editing actions here. So one of the things you might do is darken the background. This is so, like, let's say the sky isn't so, like right now we can see the fireworks really well because it's on a dark background. But let's say you have something else that's not so dark and you can barely see the fireworks, or the video overlays, then you can go ahead and darken the background. And then you can see it darken the background. And this layer is underneath the fireworks. So then the fireworks are still nice and bright. And then the layer mask is here. So if you want to darken the background and not your subjects, you can go ahead and use a black paintbrush. And you want to make sure it's a nice soft paintbrush. And then you'll paint in the white layer mask. And then you can just brush it off of your subjects or wherever you see fit. So then we made the background um, darker for those fireworks, so they pop more. Okay, and then if you want to, you can change the opacity of each editing layer as well. So it could be a little bit darker, could be a lot more darker, completely up to you. Okay, there's also a brush on option, which might be, depending on your image, simpler. So let's say you just wanted to skip doing that. You can just use a soft white paintbrush because white brushes on and black brushes off. And then you can kind of just go, like maybe you want to just do behind the fireworks themselves, the video overlay themselves. Then you can do that. And again, you can adjust the opacity as well. Okay, so that's how you use the darken background actions. Okay, so the other thing you can do is you can brighten um, your video overlays as well. So again, I like to do this while it's showing the actual overlay. So make sure you go over there. Otherwise, you'll be editing the layers and it will look like this. And you'll be like, oh, I can't even see what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm going to leave it right there so I can show you an example. So this is how you turn off the layer. So let's say you added all your fireworks and you don't want it, you can either drag it down to this trash bin there, or you can just turn off the eye layer here. And then you can kind of get an idea for what you want and move them around and such. Okay, so I have my firework selected and I'm going to brighten it. So I'm going to press play and then you can see it brightened it up and you can adjust the opacity of that as well. And if you don't like this, again, you can drag it down or you can just turn it off. And then for the next one, select your layer. Each time you have to select your actual video overlay layer, otherwise it won't know what it's working on. Okay, so the next one you can do darken. Kind of cool the different effects you can do. And then you can change the toning. So you can go ahead and press play. And then here you'll see you can adjust the slider in the hue um, one, and then also the saturation. So if you want it a little lighter, you can also change the lightness if you want to. But you have to be careful with the background with those. So a lot of times it just works a little better if you just go a little bit darker if you need it. Okay, and then you can also change the whole color if you want to for the entire thing. So what you do is you select around in the color picker box, or you can select around in your image for whatever color you want. Like if you want it to match your background or whatever you want to do. Okay. Now also keep in mind the brighten, the effects that we're adding right here, you will want to make sure it's clipped down on your video overlay. So that way, if it's unclipped, so let me show you. Um, Release clipping mask, you can see it applies it to the entire image. So you want to make sure that it's uh, clipped. So if you don't see that it's clipped, you can right click and then go to create clipping mask. This is important too because if you can see here, you can move this effect on the whole image, much like all the other layers. So if it's not clipped, it'll apply to the whole thing and not just that one. Okay, so I'm going to go down our list here. We can add more color. Actually, I didn't show you. I'm gonna go back up here to the change video color. Okay, so here you can change the color like this and then select OK. And then if you want to come back and change that color again, this is one thing I forgot to go over, you can double click this box here and that will open it back up again. So that way you have a little more control with your layers here if you want to come back. So if you send this to, let's say you finish the entire video and you send it to a client and they're like, oh, I really want to do, um, pink fireworks because we are celebrating a new baby and it's a girl, like, something like that. Like, it's nice to keep your PSD file so that way you can come back and change these different things however you want to. So then you can kind of come back in and have full control. Okay, so obviously that's just an example. Um, so I wanted to show you that. Okay, so going back down here, you can add more color. You can warm it up or cool it down. And also you can blur. You can add blur to them and motion blur. So let's say we wanted more blur. You can see it blurs it. Or motion blur. Each video overlay will be different in what you want to do. So I just wanted to make sure you had all the options here for you. And then also, of course, you can do hand editing as well as the actions. These are just kind of helper actions. Another thing you'll want to know how to do is to mask it off of your subjects if needed. So what you would do is you would grab your video overlay, and let's say you wanted it behind them. Then you would want to mask it off of them. So what you can do is zoom in, and you can use in the white layer mask right here a black brush, and then you can mask it right off of them. If you make a mistake and you want to come back or mask it back on, you can switch back to a white brush and kind of put it back on. So that way it doesn't go on your subject. You might want to play it so that you can see. Now you can see here, right here, it goes on to her. So then you'll want to go ahead and mask it off of her as well. Okay, another way that you can do that also is if you take them, so let me go back up here. Okay, so if you click the layer with your subjects, you can go to quick selection and you can select your subjects. Now this is just a rough copy. You can go in and tweak it a little bit better. Okay, so then once you have your subject selected, you can go to right click and layer via copy or cut. And then what you can do is you can bring that to the top layer, so then these the video overlays are underneath them. That might be a more efficient way to do it than masking it off, but I wanted to show you both ways so you can, um, because every image is going to be completely different. Okay, so you can see, this is why I always play it so you can test it. You can see this is not covering the whole timeline. So what you want to do is bring it over and then make it longer. So that way it covers the entire timeline of the fireworks. Okay, let's play it again. There, now it's for the whole duration of the video, it's behind the subjects. And then you can also do black and white for the entire thing if you wanted to. So let me go here and I'll play what we have so far. So that's in black and white. And let's say I wanted to send them two files, so one in black and white and then one in color. And you can send them two files, and then you can do anything you want, really. You can they're so much fun to play with. I could be in here all day creating these. And also it's wonderful too with the video overlays because it's unique and it sets you apart from others who are just doing still images. As you know, video is becoming all the rage these days, and many social media platforms uh, they prefer video. So it's really cool because you'll be able to create a video, but it's not really a video. You're using your client images that you took. So this is a really cool way to be able to combine your creative uh, side with the technical side of creating something really unique for clients who would not know how to do stuff like this with their images. It's also fun to get really creative because you're able to do things that opens up more doors. So for example, let's say they're going to create a wedding video. You can do a slideshow of images, of course, but it's also really neat that you can add motion and animation video also for things like that, and in a safe way. So it looks like, it's really cool all the different things that you can do using the video overlays. So this is my tutorial on how to add video overlays and also to use the actions. When you are finished, what you're going to want to do is go to File, um, Export, and then Render Video. And then here you'll be able to set your size that you want, um, if you want it high quality or whatnot. And then just select Render, and that will save your video for you, and then it'll be ready to upload. I hope that was helpful. Thank you so much for watching. Bye, guys.